Capricorn, what if I told you that something as simple as where you stand could change the outcome of everything you've been working toward? What if I told you that your location this weekend is not just physical, but deeply spiritual? That there are places right now pulling on your energy, not to uplift you, but to test you, to pull you back into patterns you've outgrown. There are doors that will open, not because they're meant for you, but because your light disturbs the energy inside them. Some rooms are too small for who you've become. Some environments are still drenched in energies you fought so hard to cleanse from your soul. This weekend, the atmosphere around you is sensitive, thin, spiritually charged, and not every place deserves access to the version of you that finally feels whole. You've worked too hard to find your peace. You've cried in silence just to feel balanced again. You've said no to things your heart used to crave. And because of that, you've changed. You're not who you used to be. And now you're being asked to guard the ground you walk on, because not every step is safe. Not every invitation is aligned, and not every familiar place is still worthy of your presence. This is not paranoia. This is wisdom. This is what it means to protect your energy, your light, your growth. Because discernment isn't just a spiritual tool this weekend. It is your survival key. Before we begin, type "I choose peace" in the comments. Let your soul say it first, and let the universe mirror it back. Let that comment echo through time, marking your shift into divine awareness. Stay with me to the end of this message, because the final place on this list may be the one you never imagined, and it might just be the one you've been visiting the most. Let's begin this sacred journey. Your energy deserves protection. Your future depends on it. Number 1, the place of unfinished wounds. Capricorn, there is a certain place that still lives quietly inside your memory. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It doesn't push, it pulls. You know the place I'm talking about. Maybe it's a house you haven't visited in a while. Maybe it's a corner of the city where your smile faded and your voice went silent. Maybe it's the exact spot where someone's words sank deep into your heart and left a scar that still aches when you're alone. This weekend, that place may come knocking. A casual invitation, a random memory, a sudden urge to pass by, and you might find yourself thinking, "I'm stronger now, I can handle it, that pain is behind me." But Capricorn, not every test is meant to be retaken, and not every place deserves the new version of you. That space may appear soft, warm, even welcoming. It might wrap itself in comfort and nostalgia like an old song you once loved. But what it holds beneath the surface is something your soul has already outgrown. It's not the place itself that's dangerous, it's what it triggers. It reactivates the pain you worked so hard to silence. It invites in the self-doubt you buried beneath layers of courage. And it slowly, quietly starts to make you question the healing you fought for. Capricorn, your energy is sacred now. Your peace isn't something you can afford to gamble. And while the world may expect you to be mature or move on or let it go, you know deep inside, some places are still heavy with the energy of who you once were. And going back isn't growth, it's spiritual exhaustion. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to stay away from where it all began. Not because you're bitter, not because you're broken, but because you are finally choosing to stay whole. This weekend, if that door reopens, if that location crosses your path, if your heart starts to ache for what used to be, remember, you are not that version of yourself anymore. You've become wiser, softer, stronger. And there is no need to re-enter the space that once asked you to dim your light. You've outgrown the shadows, and your soul deserves sunlight now. Avoid that place. Let it be what it was, a chapter in your story, not the page you return to. Your healing doesn't need to be tested again, it needs to be honored. This is your time to protect what you've rebuilt. And protecting it means walking forward, not in circles. Number 2, the crowded place where you feel alone. Capricorn, there is a strange kind of silence that lives in loud places. It's not the kind that comes from being ignored. It's the kind that settles into your bones when you're surrounded, but unseen. You could be in a room full of voices, laughter, and movement, and yet something deep inside you still feels missing. Still feels like you're on the outside, quietly observing, quietly shrinking. This weekend, someone might invite you to join the crowd, a party, a casual meetup, a gathering full of smiles and chatter. And on the surface, it might seem fun, harmless. You may even feel a little pressure to say yes, because you don't want to disappoint anyone. But listen closely to what your spirit says. That quiet hesitation, that small feeling in your chest that says, "Not this time," that's not fear. That's spiritual alignment trying to protect you. Capricorn, your soul is too sensitive now to pretend. You've grown. You've learned what real connection feels like. And you've also learned how it feels to sit in a room where everyone knows your name, but no one knows your heart. Don't return to that. This weekend, protect your energy from shallow waters. Avoid spaces where your presence feels like a performance. Avoid gatherings where you're expected to laugh, smile, and entertain, even when your heart feels tired. You don't need to be around people who only notice you when you're useful. You don't have to explain why you'd rather stay home, rest, or be in silence. You don't have to prove that you're social, likable, or easy to be around. You were not made to blend in just to feel less alone. You carry your own light. And sometimes that light shines too differently to be understood by every room. That's not rejection, that's redirection. So if you walk into a space this weekend and your soul starts to whisper, "This doesn't feel right. This isn't for me," trust it. Leave. Turn around. Not all crowded places are full, and not all invitations are sacred. Your time, your energy, your peace, they're precious now. You don't have to give them to anyone who doesn't know how to hold them. Capricorn, you are not here to fit in. You are here to stand firm, to protect your emotional space, to be surrounded by those who truly see you, not just look at you. This weekend, honor your soul and walk away from the noise that never made room for your truth. Number 3, the place that used to feel like home, but no longer does. Capricorn, this one is difficult, not because the place is dangerous, but because the memories tied to it are soft. Warm, comforting, familiar. It could be the neighborhood where you grew up, the bedroom you decorated when life felt simple, the home of an old friend who once felt like family, or maybe even the house where your parents still live, a place that holds your childhood yet no longer holds your peace. And now it feels different. The walls are the same, the streets haven't changed, but something in you has shifted. What used to feel like belonging now feels like walking into someone else's dream. Capricorn, this weekend, you might feel pulled to go back, to visit, to reconnect, to remember. You may think it's been a while, maybe it'll feel good to return, but pause, breathe, and ask yourself, am I returning because it still serves me, or because I'm chasing the comfort of who I used to be? That place may hold memories, but it does not hold your future. It's like trying to wear an old jacket that no longer fits your frame. The seams are tight, the fabric itches, not because the jacket changed, but because you did. Growth stretches us. It transforms how we see, how we feel, how we live. And sometimes it makes familiar places feel foreign. There's no shame in that. You are not abandoning your roots. You are honoring your evolution. Capricorn, not every place that once felt like home is meant to come with you into this next chapter. Your spirit can't breathe in spaces that only remember the old version of you. You need room to expand, emotionally, spiritually, energetically. And this weekend, if you're tempted to revisit that place, pause again. Because sometimes the past invites you back, not to bless you, but to hold you still, to remind you of who you were, not who you're becoming. Honor the memories. Smile at the pictures in your mind, but keep your feet facing forward. Your future needs a different foundation, one built on truth, on peace, on alignment, not just attachment. The place that once felt like home may still exist, but if it no longer holds your spirit gently, then it's no longer your home. Let it go, not with anger, but with grace, because some places are meant to be visited in the heart, not in person. This weekend, protect your momentum. Don't anchor yourself where you were once planted. You're not meant to stay where you bloomed. You're meant to keep growing. Number 4. The place where chaos feels normal. Capricorn. There are places you've gotten used to, not because they brought you peace, but because you learned how to survive inside their storms. Sometimes chaos becomes a pattern. Sometimes the noise feels familiar. And when life starts to quiet down, part of you may feel unsure, like something is missing. But what's missing isn't something you need. It's the drama you finally escaped. And this weekend, you need to be especially careful, because chaos wears many disguises. It may come as a friend who always has problems, a place where the conversations are loud, judgmental, and draining, or even your own personal space, if it's filled with clutter, tension, or emotional noise you haven't yet released. Capricorn, your spirit was not built to live in confusion. You were made for clarity, for structure, for inner strength. And when your surroundings are unstable, it becomes harder to hear your own intuition. This weekend, your energy is soft, not weak but open, and chaos will come knocking. It may beg for your attention. It may make you feel responsible. It may even appear in the form of someone you care about deeply. But remember this, you are not responsible for fixing what others refuse to face. You are not meant to be the one holding everything together for everyone else, especially when it breaks you in the process. You're not a firefighter for emotional fires that were never yours to put out. You are not here to sacrifice your peace for someone else's poor choices. Capricorn, your peace is sacred. It's something you've earned. And anything that disturbs it, even if it's familiar, is not for you right now. So if you feel yourself being pulled toward the place that never rests, the environment that runs on arguments, the energy that demands your attention but never gives anything back, stop. Breathe. Listen. Ask yourself, am I walking into peace or back into a storm I already escaped? Some places feel like home only because you had to survive inside them. But now you know better. Now you can choose differently. You don't need to explain your distance. You don't need to defend your boundaries. You don't owe anyone your peace. Capricorn, you are building something sacred, something steady, something calm. And that kind of foundation cannot be laid where chaos lives. This weekend, protect yourself. Protect your mind, your body, your spirit. Avoid the spaces where disorder is the norm and your presence is only used for balance. Your peace is not just a gift, it is an assignment, and this weekend it must come first. Number 5. The place that feeds your escape, not your healing. Capricorn, this chapter will feel personal for many of you. Not because it's loud or obvious, but because it's quiet. Because it's the kind of place you visit without telling anyone. Not with your feet, but with your need to disappear. It might be a cafe that feels far away from the noise, a friend's couch where you crash without explanation, a long drive with the windows down and no destination in mind. It could even be your own bed, not for sleep but to numb the hours. You know this place. It shows up when you're overwhelmed, when emotions get too heavy, when being strong becomes too much and pretending feels easier than facing what's real. It smells like escape. It tastes like distraction. It feels like a quick breath that never truly reaches your lungs. And in the moment, it comforts you. It tells you, just rest here for a while. Don't think, don't feel. But Capricorn, it doesn't heal you. It holds you still. It keeps you hiding from the truth your soul is begging you to feel. This weekend, that place may call to you again. You'll feel the urge to go, to run, to vanish into something quiet. You might tell yourself you're just tired, that you need a break. But beneath that reasoning, there's another truth. You're avoiding something that needs to be seen. Capricorn, your healing does not live in avoidance. It lives in your presence. In your ability to sit with your feelings, not flee from them. The world may have taught you to escape, to stay busy, to keep moving, to distract yourself. But this weekend, the divine is asking something different. Not more movement, but more stillness. Not another detour, but a moment to stop and be real with yourself. Sit in your space. Let the silence speak. Let the discomfort rise. Because underneath it, something sacred is waiting. Your truth. You are not weak for wanting rest, but you must learn the difference between rest and running. between comfort and hiding, between healing and escaping. Avoid the place that numbs your truth. Avoid the couch that feels safe but swallows your clarity. Avoid the environment that wraps you in softness but takes away your power. You're not disappearing, you're discovering. You're not retreating, you're reclaiming. You don't need to escape anymore. You're finally strong enough to stay in your body, your mind, your emotions, your truth. Capricorn, this weekend, make space for your healing, not your hiding, because your soul is ready, and it's time to meet it face to face, the place where you're always the strong one. Capricorn, let's talk about the kind of exhaustion no one sees, the kind that hides beneath your smile, the kind that builds up quietly every time you show up for someone else and forget to show up for yourself. There is a place you often return to, not because it gives you anything, but because they've come to expect you. It could be your sibling's home, where you're always the one calming arguments, or your friend's living room, where every visit turns into therapy for their latest heartbreak. Or even a group setting where people lean on your silence, your wisdom, your presence, but never ask how you're really doing. You walk into that space, and before you even sit down, you're already holding everyone else's emotions. Capricorn, this is not strength, this is soul fatigue, and it's catching up to you. This weekend you might get that message again. Can you come over? We need you here. You always make things better. And part of you will feel guilty if you say no, because you've always been the strong one, the dependable one, the person everyone turns to when they fall apart. But here's what you need to understand now. Just because you've learned to carry other people's pain doesn't mean it belongs to you. Just because you're capable doesn't mean you're called. This weekend isn't about rescuing anyone else. It's about rescuing you. You don't need to be available to everyone. You don't need to be the strong one every single time. You don't need to keep showing up in spaces that only love you for what you provide. Capricorn, you are not a container for other people's chaos. You are not a lifeline for those who refuse to swim on their own. And you are not here to keep sacrificing your emotional rest just to keep the peace in someone else's storm. Your soul is not a service. It's not a switch to be flipped when someone else is in crisis. It's not a tool to be borrowed when others feel lost. Your soul is sacred. It is a sanctuary. And this weekend, it needs care, not another assignment. So if you feel that familiar pull, that urge to go where you're needed, stop and ask yourself, am I going because I'm full or because I'm expected to pour? And if the answer is anything less than full, stay home. Stay with yourself. Let your own spirit be your priority. This doesn't make you selfish. It makes you healthy. It makes you whole. You are not abandoning anyone. You are simply answering your own call, the one that says, I matter too. Avoid that space this weekend. Not because they're bad people, but because you deserve a break from always being the one who holds it all together. Let them find their strength. Let them learn to carry their own weight. Let yourself rest. Capricorn, this weekend, give yourself the gift you've given to others your whole life. Support, stillness, care, peace. You've earned it. The path is clear when the noise is gone. Capricorn, there's something powerful that happens when you say no to what drains you. The moment you step away from the noise, the moment you close the door on the places that no longer honor your peace, suddenly, the path becomes clearer. This weekend, the places you avoid aren't about fear, they're about alignment. They're about knowing that your energy is too valuable to be scattered, that your time is too sacred to be wasted, that your spirit deserves to be surrounded by calm, not chaos. You've done too much healing to let the past have access to your present. You've gained too much clarity to walk into confusion. You've grown too deeply to return to the old version of yourself just to make others feel comfortable. Capricorn, your spirit is strong, but it's also sensitive right now. You're feeling more, seeing more, knowing more. And that's not weakness, that's wisdom. You don't need to explain the boundaries you set. You don't need to feel guilty for saying, not this time. Every space you say no to this weekend, every person you kindly distance yourself from, Every environment you skip will open a new space for something divine to find you. Because when you clear the path of noise, distractions, and emotional clutter, you make room for grace. You make room for unexpected blessings. You make room for miracles you didn't even know were waiting. Capricorn, you were never meant to be in places where your presence is overlooked, where your heart is misunderstood, where your energy is taken for granted. You're being called into higher places now, places of deep peace, places where you're respected, not just needed, where you're loved for who you are, not used for what you give. So choose peace, even if it means being alone. Choose presence, even if it means saying no to what used to excite you. Choose protection, even if it means stepping away from people who don't understand your silence. Because the version of you that's rising now doesn't belong everywhere. And remember, just because the world is loud doesn't mean you need to answer. Just because someone calls your name doesn't mean they carry your peace. Sometimes the most powerful move isn't a step forward. It's a step back. Tell me in the comments which place from this message felt the most personal to you. Let's speak it. Let's name it. Let's release it together. If this message found you at the perfect time, like this video, subscribe to this channel, stay with us, because Capricorn, there is more coming. More clarity, more confirmation, more healing. You're not walking this journey alone. Not now, not ever. Until next time, stay aligned, stay grounded, stay sacred.